I don't know if we succeeded, but we tried our hardest. My experience will last up treasure. One of my best times. Leonardo DiCaprio remains a Hollywood icon at 50. Forever, Jack Dawson, open-armed on the famed bow Titanic. The grin and outstretched arms hide deep, lonely feelings that a youngster tormented by shadows, silent wounds, and nights. The weak, trembling youngster with burning desire in Gilbert Grapeto, the crafty, ferocious wolf of Wall Street con artist. From Romeo's tragic love plus from Juliet to the horrific revenant survival, every character has been part of him. Soul, a challenge to himself and the world. Leonardo never took the easy way. He picked the hard one. He paid for every challenge that the cost in blood, sweat, and loneliness no camera can capture. Although the spotlight follows him everywhere, the man behind that blinding brilliance has darkness that few know. See it through. Discover Leonardo's life. Remember to honor a legend who has overcome fame, endurance, and unseen hurt. Behind Jack Dawson's classic visage is a boy's story from Los Angeles, where love broke before he knew fullness, where longing and anguish created an eternal flame. Leonardo Wilhelm, born in Los Angeles on November 11, 1974, DiCaprio under a sky that whispered fate, promising a life of brightness and deep darkness. From the start, fate appeared to mark him. His mother, Erline, a tough, intellectual German woman, faced a painting buy-in an Italian museum. Leonardo da Vinci felt her unborn child stirred at first time. A little motion with meaning, as if signaling that this child would contain art, sensitivity, and remarkable talent. Yet life, as Leonardo soon learnt, is never mere light. Under a year old, his family broke up. George DiCaprio's marriage, quirky underground comic artist, and Erline, a disciplined, gentle legal secretary, ended. Parents split, and the small world Leonardo knew split in half. A new relationship began for George, who tried to defend her son and maintain life. Still, George remained. Hen moved into different houses in the same backyard, a delicate bridge the little boy crossed daily. Early realization that love and loss may coexist. Leonardo was little at his mother's house, strolling hand in hand with her on Los Feliz broken pavements, noticing every detail. He was George's son, reading comics with him, a half-brother Adam, where his imagination ran wild. These two worlds, warm and grounded and eccentric and infinite, taught Leonardo to adapt, observe, and feel deeply, building his spirit. Los Angeles in the late 1970s and early 1980s was hardly idyllic. Hollywood, a bright and aggressive metropolis. It smelt of petrol and graffiti scarred the walls like wounds of time, and danger lurked beneath the swell of police sirens. Surface. Since childhood, Leonardo felt the weight of the world. By 6 or 7, he could keep his head down and watch quietly, and dream of a safe place to be. Freedom for his wild ideas. School never felt safe. Leonardo felt stuck at Laces and John Marshall High School within stark fluorescent lights, frigid walls, and dead desks. The simple confession exposed his hatred of public school, the desperate loneliness of a boy who never fit in. Childhood gaps, living between two houses, witnessing his mother work herself to death to keep them. By 1984, Leonardo had learnt life's fragility. Even at 10, he could perceive subtle tensions in a room, understand that a talk was going to turn into a fight. Life was uncertain, therefore sensitivity became spiritual, the armor he carried throughout maturity. Even Leonardo's smile, born of survival instinct, enticing millions to fall in love close to the world while hiding his inner self. Despite the uncertainty, love and resilience persisted. Moline, his steadfast mother, encouraged his inquiry that drove him across Los Angeles to auditions and taught him that aspirations are worth pursuing. Chase even when reality crushes them. George's weird, headstrong spirit, Leonardo's world grew through books, art, and counterculture. He taught his son that life was broader than a few losses. Leonardo was powered by his mother's strength and father's imagination. The boy who placed his face to their small window's dirty pane truly was a child. That apartment brought Los Angeles's gloom and sounds to every character. Leonardo knew the sorrow of separation, loss, and suffocating silence. He laughed and knew hunger. More than food, for purpose, meaning, And Leonardo learnt a crucial lesson from his boyhood. Everything is frail, but awareness, courage, and faith may help. Early experiences shaped Leonardo, not just the actor, the man with a very delicate heart and vivid imagination and unwavering resolve to turn grief into meaning and ambitions become reality. Leonardo DiCaprio's traumatic background gave him a strong survival instinct. It also fueled a desire to discover brightness and avoid darkness. Even though the journey ahead would challenge him in ways no child should experience, Leonardo displayed the first signs of destiny since 1976. When he was 2, the child wobbled onto a small stage at a local festival. His spirit sparkled as he danced freely and innocently. The audience laughed and applauded. It was brief, yet felt real, that like an early sign of brilliance no one in that crowd expected. He remembered their laughter years later. They weren't laughter at me and with me. An artistic spark nearly took off in 1985 during a family trip to Germany. An other path, when Leonardo discovered break dancing at 10 years old. He placed second in a local competition and assumed he was done. Might trade scripts for stage twirling and film sets for the beat. Leonardo's first joining Romper Room in 1980 was his first taste of showbiz. The unlimited energy he thought was his talent was too hyperactive for producers. Although rejection hurt, it became a symbol of unbreakability. Already at 6, this youngster was special. That was my first hearing of the word no, he remembered. It hurt more than imagined. That restless fire drove him through 18 months of Los Angeles rejection. From 1988 until 1990, he tried many doors, but was turned down. Each no deepened his mark. Commitment. One agency suggested he alter his name to Lenny Williams to look more serious. Leonardo, however, had his father George's steadfast support that rejected convenience for authenticity, even if it cost more time and loneliness. Road. Then modest opportunities began to materialize. At 14, he landed his first Matchbox vehicle, Kraft single, Applejack, and Bubble Yum commercial. He shot 20 ads, each one teaching him how to get the correct camera angle and smiled up between shots and disguised tiredness under the fiery set lights. Leonardo debuted in 1989's Lassie, then Santa Barbara in 1990, and his breakthrough with On That Set. He obsessively studied every element of parenting. River Phoenix's cinematic performance, reliving moments until they were seared into his brain. Even the oddest opportunities, like appearing on Funhouse, where he had to catch fish, were stepping stones. "You do what you have to do," he said. Leonardo received 2 Youth Cinema Award nominations before 17. Behind the ovation were numerous tryouts that ended with polite smiles, no callbacks, and long silent vehicle drives home when his mother gripped the driving wheel tightly, disguising her fear with soft words of encouragement. Years of steel taught him tenacity, not glamour. It takes guts to never trade your identity or soul for an easier road. The world is worth pounding on some doors till your palms bleed. In 1990, the child from Los Angeles's unsettling streets knew his name. He had already built the resilience that would take him to Hollywood's top in 1991.17. Leonardo DiCaprio made his film debut with Critters 3, a low-budget horror comedy about aliens eating anything in their path. Years later, he smiled, calling it probably the worst movie I ever done. But that role led to his success. Dramatic trip. An awkward start that taught him humility and patience. 2 years later, everything changed. 1993, he began starring in This Boy's Life with the Michael Caton Jones directs famous Robert De Niro. The role of Tobias Wolff, a teen suffering abuse, required from Leonardo a new degree of discipline and emotional depth. De Niro taught me to listen. Leonardo remembered both the lines and their quiet. That encounter stripped him of his teenage TV acting habits and awakened artist inclinations. That year, he gave The World took note of his chilling performance as Ari Grape, that mentally challenged youngster in What's Eating Gilbert Grape? Leonardo, 19, he played the character so well that people forgot they were witnessing an actor. He called his first Oscar nomination surreal, like getting invited to a banquet I never thought I'd attend. What's Eating Gilbert Grape? Opportunity and renown surged. In 1996, at 21, Leonardo began a life-changing journey. Baz Luhrmann's bold, brilliant modern Romeo. Leonardo's youth and fragility. Fiery passion revived the centuries-old epic. making it the heartbeat of the 1990s, but nothing could have prepared him or the world for what followed. With Titanic's 1997 launch, Leonardo DiCaprio's life changed a completely new chapter. At 22, he became Jack Dawson, impoverished artist with a free spirit, standing at the bow of the enormous ship with his arms wide, making one of the movie broke box office records, won 11 Oscars, and made Leonardo famous worldwide a global dream prince by accident. He said it was overwhelming. I became another actor. Next, I couldn't go down the street. Fame, like usual, brought storms. Jack Dawson's romantic image threatened. Leonardo's adaptability overshadows his talent. A 20-year-old man carried the world's expectations. Leonardo chose his parts carefully, determined not to let a dreamboat picture confine him. World sought more eternal lover. But Leonardo knew living bearing that identity would limit his flexibility to become anyone else. Thus he chose few at the height known would dare to make. He left the easy road while the media speculated about his disappearance. Hollywood careers can hinge on it. Death. But Leonardo survived. Self-imposed exile became a forge of rebirth. When he returned, in 2002, he was a transformed guy who would break. Leonardo played Frank in Steven Spielberg's Catch Me If You Can, a charming, quick-witted scam artist who stays one step ahead of the cops. Abel Jr. dancing behind a Tom Hanks FBI agent, in Martin Scorsese's Gangs of New York. He vanished into blood, stands alongside Daniel Day on 19th-century Manhattan streets. Lewis in a violent struggle that destroys the attractive boy. That picture began a collaborative partnership with Scorsese. That would last decades, each project harder, deeper, and riskier to last. DiCaprio reinvented himself in the 2000s in 2004. He played Howard Hughes, a genius imprisoned by every tremor and flicker in his eyes painted the portrait of obsession in Blood Diamond. His face symbolized greed over conscience in 2006. In The Departed that year, he was constantly afraid, torn between worlds, his tiredness showing in every look. Revolutionary Road came in 2008 with Kate Winslet. Their love drowned in stillness, not the ocean in rest in the 2010s. Bitterness, broken dreams. Law-stricken, he entered the mind in Inception. 2010 in 2012's Django Unchained. He hid savagery behind Southern charm. Gentleman. In 2013's The Wolf of Wall Street, he exploded. Crazy, hilarious, and terrifying. A chuckle always on edge. Crazy. One ghost haunted every performance. He sat in the Oscar audience year after year, his name called among nominees, but another winner proclaimed. You tell yourself it doesn't matter. Matter, he murmured quietly. But it always does. Each loss was a hurt and an endurance lesson. The Oscars trip ended being about glory. It tested patience, trust, and grit. He endured 2016's Revenant, Icy Rivers, bone-chilling winds, and Harsh Quiet Man, and character blurred at 41. After more, Leonardo DiCaprio's moment came after 20 years. When Best Actor was announced at the Oscars, history roared. 22 years of hunger, grief, and perseverance to meet him. Exploding in one breath, and not just a golden statue. Release after a lifetime of restriction. Once in Hollywood, Leonardo never rested. 2019. He played a dying actor afraid of being forgotten. Don't Look Up 2021 reflected modern ridiculousness and satire. In Killers of the Flower Moon 2023, he rejoined Scorsese, giving a visceral, haunting performance that left audiences breathless. Awards followed. Commander del Rosar y Delatra 2005 at UN Peace Messenger and Empire's Top 50 Best Actors 2022. But remember, DiCaprio was never made by the spotlight. He kept remaking himself at whatever cost. Even as acclaim still rang in his ears, and the golden statue shone in overwhelming brilliance. Leonardo felt empty that no award could fill. His once nourishing light had become a fire that might swallow him, destroying privacy and distorting reality, and turning everyday events into public narratives. Each grin was a clue for the world, and every quiet held rumors. Others manufactured rumors. Sometimes 2FA or .it forced him to respond publicly, even legally, as he did when one false report circulated widely. It was extinguished by his voice. Titanic changed his life. Ascent and Siege. The world wanted Jack Dawson. Lived forever, but Leonardo knew that shadow meant losing his soul. What made him an actor? He resisted the perpetual heartthrob label on television and offed at every career choice, rejecting simple jobs, picking harder way to establish he wasn't a chapter but a novel in progress. He faced new obstacles as a producer behind the camera into conversations, cooperation, and responsibility. Art and commerce meet. Questions arose concerning the origins of some initiatives. Leonardo reacted as only he could, transparently. Cooperation and a willingness to drop anything that could tarnish his reputation, protecting work, not an imagia career of decades of integrity. He never became bitter. Flower Moon 20-23 proves it in rare moments. He walks through flames for art and poses for the camera, understanding the price. He said, "The position isn't the hardest. Learning how to survive in this world without being swallowed, simple words, but deeper meaning. Lifelong learning when to talk, stay silent, and into the frailite, and when to escape to discover himself." But the tests keep coming. His name reappeared in 2025, linked to a luxury real estate he did not remark on the global sensitive estate project. Uproar reminded him, Leonardo DiCaprio, world will always seek to write unintended stories. Despite celebrity and accolades, anticipation never eased. Success didn't shield him. It amplified everything. As he improved, Globe demanded more. His time, ideas, even the pieces of privacy he defended. It seemed like applause some days. Cinema was simply the start of an echo that followed him throughout his quiet life. Thus, Leonardo learned to protect his life and the pieces that couldn't tolerate constant light, because anything left uncovered will be taken. Love for Leonardo DiCaprio has always been a river, yet unsafe harbor. The early 1990s saw him travel through. He seemed born into that sparkling life. Walking with Bridget Hall, Christopher Zong, and Naomi Campbell, who subsequently one of his closest buddies, joined him on secret getaways and humanitarian trips away from the camera glare. Short chapters, rumors caught Anglesey magazine pages, Demi Moore supper, a brief meeting Helena Christensen, and seeing Amber Valletta on a magazine cover and asking to meet her, or a night out with Eva Herzigova after the Iron Mask, which she later denied. Nothing. Then 1992, Gisele Bündchen joined him. Their Hollywood tenure lasted 6 years. Golden pair. Two celestial bodies spinning in unison, glowing red. Fashion weeks and carpets. However, their beats diverged beneath the glow. In Lessons, her memoir, Gisele wrote about stillness, meditation, and healing, while Leonardo thrived on motion, sound, energy, and creativity. No betrayal, no storm. Just two ships on separate tides. Wave goodbye as they vanished. After Gisele, Bar Raffaele, quieter 5-year love surge. Being apart from him taught me Tobe, fearless alone. She remarked, a lesson is only comprehended when absent. Departs suddenly. Between those long loves shone brief sparks. In Vitsina, Blake Lively, producer Joshua Safran says Leonardo received fun photo diaries. Aaron Hetherton, who remembered him warmth years later, and a tabloid inflated Miranda Kerr dinner a controversy. The 2010s followed a pattern. Tony Guerin left him quietly after 18 months. Kelly Rohrbach appeared and vanished. Endless speculation. According to Leonardo, rumors linking him to Rihanna were incorrect. Litigated and won. Nina Agdal followed. Relationship a soft conclusion and starting. Then Camila Morone, 5 years together, long enough to withstand love's seasons and public scrutiny of their age gap. Camila took it all in quietly, saying, "Love isn't a performance for the public." They visited Thailand for the beach film, attended the 2020 Oscars, and enjoyed easy days in LA with his mother. He was briefly linked to she in 2022. Hadid, a brief, bitterless relationship. Victoria Soretti followed in 2023. They met at the Killers of the Flower Moon premiered at Cannes Film Festival. From Sardinia to Halloween parties, Las Vegas Rolling Stones gigs, Art Basel Miami, and his 49th birthday in LA. The world watched again, theorized, and penned variations of a story Leonardo never tried. To explain. Victoria soon joined him and his mother on quiet walks through the city when a ring on her finger prompted engagement rumors. Nearby source emphasized that it was her long-held jewelry. Despite a lifetime of quick, long, bright, and transitory romances, Leonardo DiCaprio never married. His close friends typically say he never felt constrained by it. However, at 50, he admitted quietly hoping to become a father. That dream is unconstrained by law or ceremony, just simply remains like a slightly ajar door. And perhaps his loneliness is strongest in that short gap between what is and what could be. He is rarely seen despite thousands of camera flashes and bright evenings of stardom. Seen with family. New relationships begin after old ones. Silence, not scandal. Stardom can fill a calendar, but cannot fill a room after guests leave. After laughter ends, midnight quiet remains. The pause before unlocking an empty flat. The knowledge that every grin once shared could be tomorrow's headline. The Globe has repeated his love story. Headlines, memes, and whispers tell stories. But behind those narratives is a guy who has learned that love is a gift and a risk, and privacy is the final frail treasure to safeguard. Real red carpets. The waves from balconies exist. Like that time at the end of the day when Oscar winner and global celebrity Leonardo DiCaprio, 50, slides the key into. He enters and hears nothing. Leonardo DiCaprio is 50. Made a life nearly untouchable. A constellation of homes, valuables, global retreats. Yet what keeps the Globe at bay also indicate his arm's length need. In LA, the 1926 Tudor-style Red Oak Drive residence was his beautifully restored by musician Moby with high ceilings, 3 fireplaces, and a modern chef's kitchen, and a private theater overlooking a pool and jacuzzi. The master suite contained a yoga or reading loft, a sauna corridor, and century-old greenery at a city forest. He sold it for $4.90 in 2022. Million. Malibu has 1,700 square feet of coastline. Spacious porch, hot tub, and Pacific View private beach access. His 2021 sale was around $10.3 million. Current residence, $9 million. The 1936 Beverly Hills residence has 4 bedrooms, 6 baths, and a glass-walled kitchen, arching staircase, and a private guest house beyond the pool. His 104-acre island Blackador Cay, situated nearby, far from Hollywood, at a zero-emission green resort with bungalows and villas ranging between $5 and $15 million is his goal. A Eden-like garden that gives back more than it takes. Story goes from enjoyment to intention in his garage. His cars are a Toyota Prius, Fiat 500e, and 408 horsepower Polestar 2.320M range. Remarks about the future, not status. They include a stylish Fisker Karma hybrid and a Porsche Cayenne e-hybrid. Versatility and a 911 Carrera F teach us that discipline doesn't mean dying of passion. His tastes include meaningful items. Tag Heuer Breitling Chrono Avenger, Carrera, Monaco, and rare Tag Heuer watches professional $180,000 Wayfarer. His art collection includes paintings by Jean-Pierre Roy. Casablanca's famous piano costs $600,000. Rumor has it that the Wizard of Oz ruby slippers are worth approximately $3 million on water. He's on the 315-foot VA2, featuring a helipad, and the 482-foot Topaz, one of the most expensive yachts. Like these vessels, his dwellings are tranquil castles. But they also remind him why fortresses exist. No matter his wealth or power, Leonardo's life money can't erase truth and shape. More the world loves you, the more restrain yourself. He put that imbalance to use that he donated $35,000 to a Los Feliz computer center in 1998. Public library. Titanic co-stars helped Milvina Dean in 2009. Last ship survivor. He donated $1 million to Haitian earthquake victims in 2010. Relief. After that, millions more went to disaster relief, wildlife conservation, and environmental activism. 61,000 for GLEAD, 65,000 for Armenian kids, 1 million for Hurricane Harvey victims. Get $3 million for Australian wildfires. They may just numbers, but behind each one is a guy determined to turn the light on him. Greater than himself. His projected $300 million net worth comes from decades of prominent performances, production deals, brand endorsements, and investments. He keeps fit, dresses well, and rules the screen. Time leaves its mark. Once boyish face-doomed ship bows now bear the brunt of every storm behind the camera. People who know him say takes each step cautiously, not out of fear but experience. Privacy is the last currency in a world where every glance may be a news. Guarding but it costs. Also, shielding himself from others implies the world can never reach him. His partnerships end quietly, not scandalously. Deep friendships are rare. Right to disappear is his price. For silence. This man grew up between two houses separated by a garden walk between worlds. A world of sound. He plays parts that mold a generation, and in quiet, he attempts to save his remains. His career showcases transformations. His life teaches discipline. His fame has served greater good. Yet a guy without a lasting love remains in the quiet after the curtain falls. That a man who imagines hearing the gentle murmur of little footprints in a place he can stay in for the next project calls. Early in his career, he swore Robert Dyro he would never waste an opportunity. That commitment took him from Los Feliz starving alleys to the center of world cinema. His legacy will go beyond trophies and box office records. His use of light to illuminate, protect, endure, and perhaps to die. Leonardo DiCaprio stays put for now. Chooses to be a man who shines when a story needs telling. It ends in stillness. Premieres draw audiences, speeches, screen changes. However, when the cameras stop, he resumes his own life. A brilliant existence awaiting something. Watching for what cannot be written, created, or one. He may play this character without a script. In conclusion, at 50, Leonardo DiCaprio's life isn't Hollywood perfect. A mosaic of light and shadow, majestic peaks, and peaceful areas beyond the world reach. He has walked red carpets to adulation and traveled empty passageways where just his footsteps resonate. Once, he ran film sets. He also silently watched the sea. Alone, unsure about his future. Fame gave him much, but it also taught him to protect the pieces of himself no award can touch. That may be why his narrative resonates, not because it's perfect, but because it's incomplete. Share it. In recounting these, you preserve his tale. And possibly in a secluded spot of the globe, he will know that artist audience is the one nothing can take it away.